Happy Thursday, everybody. Welcome into the show. This is Philadelphia Eagles Now by Chat Sports. My name is Chase Sr., and no matter where you are or how you're tuned in, I greatly appreciate all of you for making today's show a part of your day. Coming up, we have some huge Eagles injury news as the Birds get set to take on the Commanders. If they win their second NFC East title in 3 years. A Washington Commanders running back player, he said what? We'll dive into that as well. And could Philadelphia, as we look ahead to the postseason, get some defensive end help and sign Calais Campbell, a member of the 2010s All-Decade team, could be cut loose by the Miami Dolphins, could latch on with the playoff contender. Before we talk about all of that, you take a look here to my right at the most likes that we've picked up this week here on Eagles Now. Our Steelers recap on Monday, 761 likes. What Colin Cowherd said about the Eagles, he thinks that they can win the Super Bowl and chose them to bring home that Lombardi trophy. 691 likes on that show. Our Eagles playoff path video, taking a look at how Philadelphia can get that number one seed and home field advantage. 621 likes. So the duty for today's show, our mission, can we beat all of those numbers? Hit that thumbs up icon, like the video right now. Let's get the show underway. Some big-time Philadelphia Eagles injury news going into this game on Sunday in Week 16. I can't believe we're sitting here less than a week from Christmas. 2024 is almost in the rear view. 2025 is almost here, and we just have 3 games left in the NFL regular season. When the preseason and training camp are underway, you're always thinking, man, I can't wait for this 17-game schedule. We have so much time to watch Eagles football, and every single year it goes by very quickly. But hopefully Philadelphia is about to embark on a playoff run, and them getting that number one seed, they have to win out. You got to hope that the Lions lose at least one game, the Vikings lose at least one game, and it all starts for Philadelphia in this game against Washington if they do want to win out, which at that point, they'd end the regular season with 13 consecutive wins. And if they have Landon Dickerson in this game, it's going to do wonders. And it looks as though the left guard for Philadelphia, who signed that $21 million per year contract this offseason, is going to be able to play. Why is that? Practice today, and the clip that I saw of him at the NovaCare complex outside doing a one-on-one, he was moving at full speed. He had his strength beneath him, and he was practicing with a lot of force. He injured his knee against the Pittsburgh Steelers, and then he got replaced by Tyler Steen. Steen struggled a little bit, had a couple of penalties, but he was able to hold his own against a really good Steelers defense. He's just not the player that Landon Dickerson is. That's why Howie Roseman paid him. And this is a Commanders defense. Along the interior, you have defensive lineman Daron Payne, really good player. The rookie Jer'Zhan, Johnny Newton out of Illinois, he can bring it as well. And the Commanders have really struggled against the run this year. That is a strength to Landon Dickerson's game. The Commanders giving up 4.8 yards per carry. That's 28th among 32 teams. And 132.1 rushing yards per ball game. That is 25th. And you remember what happened back in November in this game between Philadelphia and Washington. The Eagles had 6 points in the first 3 quarters. The Commanders slowed this game down. They made it sloppy. They made it muddy. Jalen Hurts and the offense couldn't find a groove. Saquon Barkley had some good carries, but the pass game was non-existent. But then in that fourth quarter, Philadelphia explodes for 20 points. Saquon Barkley had 2 touchdowns in the span of 10 seconds, both on the ground, and Landon Dickerson helped to make that happen. And he's a really good player. This year, overall Pro Football Focus grade of 79.4. That is 13th among 128 guards. His pass blocking grade coming in at 72.6. That's 23rd at the position. And then run blocking grade, 79. That is 13th. He's played 861 offensive snaps this year, 433 pass blocking, 428 run blocking, has 6 penalties, 4 sacks allowed, 3 hits allowed, 24 total pressures, and I think he's played a little bit better than what those numbers indicate, but him being able to play in this game just makes this Eagles offense more difficult to stop. And some more good news here on top of that is that Saquon Barkley looks as though he's going to be okay. On Wednesday, he had a veteran rest day, but the signs are pointing to him being full go in this game with no restrictions. Sidney Brown did suffer a concussion against Pittsburgh. He is in concussion protocol. So that's some marquee injury news for the Eagles. Dickerson, Barkley, going to play in this game against Washington, and you already know Eagles fans are going to be taking over the joint in Landover, Maryland. Next up, Commanders running back Brian Robinson said what? He said on the radio, quote, "We feel like we're the better team as compared to the Philadelphia Eagles." Now, of course, he's going to be confident in his ball club. He's been in the league for a couple of years, but let's take a look at the numbers here. Who has the better record between the Eagles and Washington? Birds are 12-2. Commanders are 9-5. Advantage, Eagles. What about quality of opponents? Has either team beaten anybody with a quality record? Eagles have beaten 5 teams with a winning record as they are 12-2 right now. The Commanders have beaten 0 teams with a winning record. So once again, advantage, Eagles. That's 2-0. Have these two teams played each other? Yeah, we talked about that just moments ago. In Week 11, back midway through November, Birds beating the Commanders 26-18. Advantage, once again, Eagles. That's 3-0. How about point differential this year? The Eagles are at plus 122. The Commanders, pretty damn good, plus 81. Still, though, it's a pretty big advantage for Philadelphia there by 41 points. Yardage differential, Eagles plus 1,367. The Commanders plus 730. Advantage, Philadelphia once again. Yardage differential, yeah, that's pretty impressive there with what Philadelphia's been able to do, compiling all those yards on the offensive side of the football. We could go into analytics too, because you know I love the eye test. I don't get too nerdy with all the analytics, but we can rely on the numbers like any good business would. If you're a business and you're running a business and you're not leaning on statistical data to make you better, what are you doing? And the Eagles are ranked 5th in DVOA. The Commanders, again, not bad. They are ranked 12th, but still advantage for the Eagles. As for what the odds makers think in this ball game, Eagles are on the road, but they are still 3.5-point favorites. So across the board here, taking a look at the numbers, advantage Eagles, which points to them, Brian Robinson, being the better ball club. But you got to give credit where credit is due. Commanders are having a really good year, and isn't this crazy? They have their best record after 14 games since 1992. That's the year that I was born, January 10th, if you want to send me a birthday present. But the Eagles have pretty good argument that their resume is far superior as compared to Washington. I will say when it comes down to this game, I think it will be a hard game. I think it's going to be a little bit grimy. I think it's going to be somewhat close, and I'm going to change my score prediction from what I had in the preview, but I do think the Eagles win, and in the process, they win the NFC East. Our sponsor for today's show, before we talk some Calais Campbell, our friends at ZBiotics. Get 15% off at zbiotics.com/chatsports, or you can scan the QR code right here. Yeah, you can scan the QR code right here to my left. And have you ever skipped a workout because of drinks the night before? Yeah, I'm with you. And if you're committed to your healthy routine this year, or you're looking to launch a healthy routine in 2025, you need ZBiotics pre-alcohol. We all have busy lives these days. You can't afford to waste a day stuck on the couch because of a few drinks the night before. ZBiotics pre-alcohol is the answer we've all been looking for. Let's face it, after a night with drinks, I don't always bounce back the next day like I used to. Shoot, I just gave you and revealed my age, and I have to make a choice. I can either have a great night or a great next day, or you can do both. That's what ZBiotics helps you to do. Pre-alcohol from ZBiotics, the world's first genetically engineered probiotic, invented by PhD scientists who tackle rough mornings after drinking. When you drink, alcohol gets converted into a toxic byproduct in the gut. It's that, not dehydration, that's to blame for your rough next day. Pre-alcohol produces an enzyme to break this byproduct down. Just remember to drink this probiotic before drinking alcohol, drink responsibly, and get a good night's sleep to feel your best tomorrow. We had some new hires who hopped on board the Chat Sports wagon back a couple of weeks ago. We took them out for a night of drinks, and then we worked the next day. I was a little bit concerned. You know what I told him the next day? And you know what I did? I gave them some Z-Biotics. The following weekend, we went out again, and they were fine for an NFL Sunday. The first time I tried it, before a watch party. And as instructed, drank a bottle of pre-alcohol before any alcohol. I was amazed at how great I felt the next day. So stay in the loop. Go to zbiotics.com/chatsports. Scan that aforementioned QR code on the screen. Get 15% off your order. When you use the code CHATSPORTS at checkout, you can sign up for a subscription, and they have a 100% money-back guarantee. Thank you so much to our sponsor and our partners at ZBiotics for making today's show possible. So let's round out with this. As we know, we're recording this show on Thursday, December 19th. The NFL trade deadline was a long time ago. Howie Roseman electing to not make a move at the deadline, but does he have one move up his sleeve? Prior to the playoffs, you can still sign free agents. How about this? 38-year-old, three-time All-Pro Calais Campbell could get let go by Miami if they're fully out of the playoff picture. That according to Barry Jackson of the Miami Herald, who wrote this, while making clear that his focus is entirely on Sunday's game against the 49ers. Campbell disclosed recently that before the deadline, he and general manager Chris Grier discussed a scenario in which he could possibly join a playoff contender if the Dolphins are eliminated from postseason contention. Weeks back before the trade deadline, there was a small conversation you really didn't hope would ever become a thing, Campbell said on Wednesday. It was just something to talk about, nothing concrete. I don't know if we're there just yet. It's definitely something that you think about. A lot of moving parts. We're kind of staying in the moment, but it's definitely something that you have to think about. And for Philadelphia, this is something that they think about. They open up the practice window for Bryce Huff. That helps the Eagles get some depth back at that defensive end spot following Brandon Graham's torn triceps that he suffered on Sunday Night Football against the Rams. And you think about Campbell, though, if you want to add more depth, this is a veteran who's a consummate pro, a great leader. He has 109.5 sacks to his name. This year, he's played 58% of Miami's defensive snaps this year. That is more than what Brandon Graham was playing for Philadelphia, which was 46%. And so if the Niners beat Miami, which I think they will, Miami's the softest team in the NFL. They're all speed, spread it out, and flash. The Niners are all about physicality. Then Miami's playoff chances, which are already hanging by a thread, are going to be doomed. And if that's the case, could Calais Campbell at 38 years old revisit that conversation with Chris Grier and say, look, I can go to Philadelphia. I think that I can help them. They can use me, and it gives me an opportunity to win a Super Bowl. And you think about where the Dolphins are at right now in the AFC playoff picture, not even close to being able to make it into the dance. You have the Chargers at 8-6, the final wild card team. The Broncos at 9-5, the 6th seed. That's going to be a tremendous matchup on Thursday Night Football. Then you have the Baltimore Ravens in that 5 spot at 9-5. Whereas the Miami Dolphins in the AFC East, they're 6-8. So they need to win out. They need help. They need those other two teams, basically in the Chargers and the Broncos, to lose out to have any chance of making the playoffs. And Campbell has had a very impressive career. He's with the Arizona Cardinals from 2008 to 2016. Isn't this crazy? He was on that team in 2009 that Donovan McNabb, Andy Reid lost to in the NFC Championship game when Kurt Warner was the quarterback. That was Deshaun Jackson's rookie year. Calais Campbell was on that squad, and he was a couple of years into his NFL career. Then he's with Jacksonville from 2017 to 2019, Ravens from 2020 to 2022, Falcons 2023, Miami Dolphins this year, Walter Payton, NFL Man of the Year in 2019. So does a lot for the community and as a leader. NFL Defensive Player of the Year from the Pro Football Writers Association in 2017, first team All-Pro that year, second team All-Pro 2 times, 2014, 2016, a 6-time Pro Bowler, 2014, 2015, 2017, through 2020. So he's played good football, even in his mid-30s, and a member of the 2010s All-Decade team. I also want to pull up his sack numbers year by year in his NFL career because the production, especially at the size, He is 6'8", 307 pounds, and he's made some impactful plays for Miami this year. No sacks as a rookie. Then he goes 7, 6, 8, 6.5, 9, 7, 5, 8, 14.5 in 2017, 10.5 in 2018, 6.5, 4, 1.5, 5.5, 6.5 last year, and 4 this year. I still think he has gas left in the tank. I still think that he could really help a team, and he's been an extremely durable player throughout his career. He has never played less than 12 games in a season. So we're not talking about him being a starter. We're talking about him being a good veteran leader who's seen everything that you can see on an NFL field, within an NFL game. I like the makeup of this Eagles defensive line. Jalen Carter, one of the most dominant players in all of football. You have Milton Williams. You have Jordan Davis. And as the edge rushers on this team continue to develop before our very eyes, Nolan Smith, Jalix Hunt. You also have Josh Sweat, who has a team high 8 sacks. You're pretty good along the defensive line, but if you add another player, and I got to throw Moro Ojomo in the mix. Like, Moro Ojomo has played some pretty good football this year. They could open up a spot for Calais Campbell as well, and we'll see what certainly happens if the Eagles do sign a player like that. Of course, we're going to talk about it here on the show. Be sure to hit that subscribe button. Join the movement here on Philadelphia Eagles Now. We just surpassed 95,000 subscribers. Let's keep moving.